such an asshole.
We got a Clarey test request for Charles Schulz. That's all he said. Should probably type in Charles Schulz. Charles Schulz. I know he is a Minnesotan. I believe he was born in St. Paul. No, Minneapolis. Well, let me read it. The guy said something along the lines, well, not all Minnesotans are bad. It's like, no, there's good Minnesotans. They just leave. I mean, look at Bob Dylan. He left. He's like, fuck this place. And, Minnesotans, they're like, oh, he's one of us. No, he left you. You weren't able to keep the community. Same thing with Schulz. I think he left for warmer climes in Santa Rosa, California. I was desperate to get out of that place. Took 25 years, but I finally did it. Where'd it go? Sense of adventure. Ticketmaster, of course, emailed me, even though I said I'm unsubscribing. Where is it? Oh, I see. I get all these spam messages, and it's down here. Is it down here? Where'd it go? Honest to God. Christmas present, D&D, Vlad Elkins. I'm going to delete that. Here it is. Hey, asshole, how much for a Clarey test on Charles Schulz? I'd like to prove that not everyone from Minneapolis sucks, just the people who live there now. I'm not even joking. That any productive person leaves. It's like New York. You're stuck there. You're born there. You set roots down there, and it's going to take you until you're 60 to get out to move to Florida. But just like everyone wants to get out of New York, everyone wants to get out of Minnesota. So I feel bad for the people that are stuck there. But if you're worth anything and you have the means, you get the hell out of that state. There's no reason to be there. All right, Charles Schulz. Charles Monroe Sparky Schulz. Born 1922. Died February 12th, 2000. I remember that day because I went and bought a Snoopy poster I have behind me at the Northern Command. Was an American cartoonist, creator of the comic strip Peanuts, which is featured two noble best characters, Charlie Brown and Snoopy. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. Born Minneapolis, Minnesota. Grew up in St. Paul. Okay, so he grew up in St. Paul. He was the only child of Carl Fred Schulz and Deanna Halverson and was of German-Norwegian descent, yet he didn't hate himself. Uncle called him Sparky. Attended Richard Gordon Elementary in St. Paul, where he skipped 2.5 grades. Really? He became a shy, timid teenager, perhaps as a result of being the youngest in his class. Central High School. Okay, I have taught dance classes at Central High School. Who knew I was walking those same halls? Schulz loved drawing and sometimes drew his family dog, Spike, who lives in Needles, California, if you know, who ate unusual things such as pins and tacks. 1937, Schulz drew a picture of Spike and sent it to Ripley's Believe It or Not. His drawing appeared in Robert Ripley's syndicated panel caption, "A hunting dog that eats pins, tacks, and razor blades is owned by C.F. Schulz, St. Paul, Minnesota, and drawn by Sparky." High school rejection for his drawings by his high school yearbook, which he referred to in Peanuts years later, when he had Lucy ask Charlie Brown to sign a picture he drew of a horse, only to say that it was a prank. A 5-foot-tall statue of Snoopy was placed in the school's main office 60 years later. February 1943, so he's 21 years old. Schulz's mother, Dina, died after a long illness. At the time of her death, she had only recently been made aware that she suffered from cancer. Schulz had, by all accounts, been very close to his mother, and her death had a significant effect on him. Around the same time, Schulz was drafted to the United States Army, where he served as staff sergeant in 20th Armored Division. And who would have known he was in, tanks? In Europe during his World War II as a squad leader on a 50 caliber machine gun team. His unit only saw combat only at the very end of the war. Schulz was what, 43? Oh. His unit. Schulz said he had only one opportunity to fire his machine gun, but forgot to load it, and that the German soldier he could have fired at willingly surrendered. Years later, Schulz Proudly spoke of his wartime service. For being under fire, he did receive the Combat Infantry Badge, of which he is very proud. 1945, Schulz returned to Minnesota, where he did lettering for a Roman Catholic comic magazine, Timeless Topics, before he was drafted. What? Oh, before he was drafted, Schulz had taken correspondence courses from the school Art Instruction, Inc. 1946, took a job at the school where he reviewed and graded students' work. He worked at a school for several years as he developed his career as a comic creator. So it did sound like he had money. Like mom and dad did not have money. They weren't like financing him. He had to work. Career. The anti-communist propaganda comic book Is This Tomorrow features some of Schulz's early work. Oh, so he was an American. Schulz's first group of regular cartoons, weekly series of one-panel jokes called Little Folks, I think I remember seeing that, was not in the day, of course, was published from June 1947 to January 1950 in the St. Paul Pioneer Press, with Schulz usually doing four one-panel drawings per issue. Ba 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 ba. Later that year, Schulz approached United Feature Syndicate with the one-panel series Little Folks, and the syndicate became interested. By that time, Schulz had also developed a comic strip, usually using 4 panels instead of 1, and to Schulz's delight, the syndicate preferred that version. Put to his consternation, the syndicate had to change the title from Schulz's strip for legal reasons and selected a new name, Peanuts. Look at that, a little bit of history. I'm just going to skip because he kept drawing Peanuts. 71 countries, 21 languages, 50 years. Drew 17,897 published Peanut strips. Produced more than $1 billion in year merchandise and product endorsements. Schulz took only one vacation, a 5-week break, late 1997 to celebrate his 75th birthday. The only time that occurred during Schulz's life. So they never ran reruns. Wow. What a worker. Didn't he work until he was dead? This is a failing health and retirement. 81 went bypass surgery. Ronald Reagan phoned him to wish him good luck. So he was 77. I mean, he was loaded by that time. When did he have his stroke? When did he take his... I'm trying to do math here. Trust me on this. Influence his personal life. Where was he? He was 75. Stayed in Minneapolis till 1958. Moved to Sebastopol, California. Yeah, I don't blame you. Kidnapping attempt? Here it is. No, it's not. I had it. I just want to know when he turned. Okay, let's do the math. Come on, Aaron. You can do it. 22 plus 75. So it was 1997. He took a break. But then his failing health was in the 1980s. Schulz still insisted on writing and drawing the strip by himself, resulting in noticeably shakier lines over time. All right, so he still pushed through it. In November 1999, Schulz suffered several small strokes and a blocked aorta, and he was later found to have had colon cancer that had metastasized because of the chemotherapy, because he could not see clearly. He announced his retirement. So he worked until he couldn't do it no more. That's what I was trying to figure out. Then he died a year later. All right. Oh, look, he's buried in Santa Rosa, not Minnesota. Fuck you, Minnesota. Do you want to try? Do you want to send a contingent of Minnesotans over there to burn it down? Like it's a rock. I don't know. Maybe if you really try to burn it down hard. All right. I think he gets a perfect score. So he didn't come from wealth. I don't think he even went to college. Went to correspondence school, but he didn't go to college, so he didn't get a worthless degree. He has real world working experience both in war and working his entire life. And normally you say, what's he doing now? He's still working, except for that sliver of time in his life where he retired and was yet to he went until he had colon cancer, a blocked aorta, and strokes. God bless him. God bless him. Yeah, perfect score. Would I like to have a beer with him? Yes. Could he have ran for office? Yes, he absolutely could have. There, a Californian. Let's call him a Californian. A Californian, not a Minnesotan. He was a Californian. Yeah, Bob. When did Bob Dylan leave? I'm kind of curious. When did Bob? Because Hibbing, Minnesota. He left in 1961 when he was 19 or 20 years old. You got Prince. That's all you got. All you got is Prince. I don't even know why Prince stayed in Minnesota. With that money, I would have been south a long time ago. All right, there we are. All right, that's it. Question answer. It's been a day, guys. Questions, answers. AssholeConsulting.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.